Welcome back to the deep dive. You know that pit in your stomach feeling when the mail
I
arrives,
mean, yeah.
or when a text message pops up and reminds you about an upcoming payment?
hmm
If you've ever found yourself staring at your bank balance at like 3 in the morning, or maybe just feeling that sort of low-level hum of anxiety that never quite goes away.
Then you know exactly what we're talking about today.
Exactly. We are unpacking financial worry.
And it is, I think we can agree, one of the most universal stressors in modern life. It's just this constant nagging anxiety about bills, about emergencies, about the future.
It's exhausting.
It is, and it's so pervasive.
Okay, let's just jump right in, because the scale of this problem isn't just a feeling. It's not anecdotal.
No, the research is really clear on this. It's basically a public health issue that's deeply connected to our mental state.
That's right. I mean, the sources we reviewed show that financial worries are consistently cited as the single biggest source of stress.
It outweighs almost everything else. Work, relationships. For so many people, money is number one.
And the numbers are they're stark. We pulled a statistic that said 72% of Americans feel stressed about money.
72%. Just think about that.
That's 3 out of every 4 people you meet. They're carrying this weight around with them every single day.
And that chronic stress, it has real consequences. It moves beyond just worry and into, clinical impact.
Yeah, there was a key finding, I think, from the University of Nottingham that was really shocking.
The one about debt and depression.
Yes, that people with debt are more than twice as likely to suffer from depression.
It really underscores why we can't just talk about, coping mechanisms. We need actual structured strategies to dismantle the source of that worry.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're not offering a quick fix. This is a full spectrum strategy.
Right. We have to combine the practical, hard math side of things with the psychological strategies.
You need both, the technical knowledge and the emotional control.
So we've synthesized everything from our sources into 4 essential pillars. They all have to work together.
Okay, what are they?
We'll start with pillar 1, which is all about building the foundational controls. Just gaining that immediate clarity.
Getting a grip on things.
Exactly. Then we move to pillar 2, conquering debt strategically.
A big one.
The biggest obstacle for most. After that, pillar 3 is about securing your future proactively. So, growth and protection.
And finally,
we spend a good chunk of time on pillar 4, mastering the internal game. That's the all-important financial mindset.
all right, let's jump straight into that first pillar then. Building the financial foundation.
Gaining immediate control.
And the first step is often, it's the one that's the most revealing and sometimes the most painful.
Just looking at the numbers,
Yeah.
we have to start with creating and sticking to a budget. And the core principle here, it's not complicated, but it's where most people fall down.
Which is,
If you don't know exactly where your money is going, you can't control it. It's impossible.
you're just flying blind.
Completely in the dark. And that lack of visibility, that's what fuels the anxiety.
It's the difference between feeling like your money just sort of vanishes
Right.
versus having an actual assigned job for every single dollar you earn.
And our source is all stress that you have to track everything meticulously.
And they really mean everything, don't they?
Oh, yeah. We're talking about those small purchases, the daily coffee, the quick snack, that little impulse buy at the checkout.
The money leaks.
Exactly. They accumulate so fast, and that's what sinks the ship for most people.
So when we talk about tracking methods, what are the options? The sources seemed flexible but firm on one thing.
Consistency. That's the key. You have choices, though. You can use budgeting apps that, link to your accounts and categorize everything for you.
Which is great for efficiency.
It is. Or you can go a bit more old school. Use a simple spreadsheet, which takes more manual work, but
But I found this part fascinating. Why would a more tedious method sometimes be better?
it's about the connection to the numbers, the psychology of it. When you have to manually type in that you spent $7 on a latte, you're forced into this immediate non-judgmental confrontation with that decision.
Whereas the app just does it silently in the background.
Right. It can create this distance between the action of spending and the consequence in your budget. For anyone who struggles with impulse, that physical act of logging the expense is like a little dose of mindful discipline right in the moment.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so we've tracked the data. Now we need a structure, a framework for it all.
Yes. How do we allocate the money? And the method our sources cited most consistently for its simplicity and balance is the 50-30-20 rule.
Talk us through that.
The beauty of it is how clearly it defines the boundaries. It reduces what they call decision fatigue.
I like the sound of that.
So 50% of your after-tax income is allocated to needs.
Needs.
Right.
Now, we have to be really clear about what a need is, right?
Brutally honest, these are the true essentials.
Yeah.
Housing, utilities, basic groceries, minimum debt payments, the transportation you need to get to work.
And if your rent or your car payment is taking up way more than that 50%.
Then that's your red flag. The research says that is your immediate worry point. The foundation is unstable.
Now, this is where I see the friction happening. It's so easy to categorize a want as a need.
You've hit on the biggest pitfall right there, that definitional drift.
People justify everything.
They do, but a need is for survival and work. A luxury car payment, a premium cable package, that's not a need, no matter how much you might feel like it is.
So those things belong in the next category.
The 30% for wants, the discretionary spending, dining out, entertainment, travel, hobbies.
This isn't a punishment then. It's permission to actually enjoy your life.
It's a crucial release valve as long as you're stable. And then the final 20%, which is non-negotiable.
Savings and debt repayment.
Above the minimums. This is the slice of the pie that is actively building your future security.
And we should probably mention the alternative methods. For someone who feels like they need even more structure, the sources talked about zero-based budgeting.
Zero-based budgeting is, it's rigorous, but it is so effective.
How does it work?
The concept is simple. Your income minus your expenses has to equal zero.
So every single dollar gets a job?
Every dollar is assigned a destination before the month even begins. It totally eliminates that financial ambiguity. It's perfect for people who thrive on that kind of tight control.
Okay, so we have the framework, but you said earlier the big trap is setting it and then just forgetting about it.
Precisely. The sources hammered this point home. Review and accountability are everything.
You have to schedule it in.
Yes, formalize the process. A budget is a living document. I'd advise, if you're new to this, review your spending against your budget every week.
Every week.
To start, yes. See where you strayed, and this is crucial without judgment. Just make adjustments for the next week.
Removing the shame element is so important.
It's everything. The goal isn't perfection, it's insight. If you overspent by $50 on restaurants, you don't panic.
You just ask, okay, how do I pull $50 back from the wants category next week to get back on track?
It's just a course correction. And that constant non-judgmental monitoring, that's what gives you the feeling of control.
Which is the antidote to the anxiety.
It's the immediate antidote. So once you know where the money is going, the next crucial step in building this foundation is creating a buffer.
A buffer against the world.
Yeah.
The emergency fund. This is your financial cushion, and I think the research suggested this is maybe the single most effective tool for killing anxiety.
It is, because it neutralizes unpredictability. It's your shield against that financial whiplash when life happens.
Right, so the goal is just to have a safety net for those true unexpected events.
A sudden job loss, a big medical bill, an urgent car repair, the things that send most people spiraling into high-interest debt.
One of the sources actually noted that even having a small fund provides a measurable decrease in stress hormones, in cortisol.
It does, but the target amount, the consensus across all our material, is pretty substantial.
It's 3 to 6 months worth of living expense.
3 to 6 months. And the reason for that is based on real-world data, like the average time it takes to find a new job.
So if you lose your job, having 6 months of your basic expenses covered gives you runway. You're not panicked.
It shifts the mindset from, I need any job tomorrow, to, I have time to make a good, deliberate decision.
Okay, but for someone starting from zero, 6 months of expenses can look like Mount Everest. It's totally overwhelming.
Which is why the implementation strategy has to start small.
Right. The baby emergency fund.
Exactly. Aim for an initial smaller target. Maybe $500, maybe $1,000.
That's achievable.
It's achievable quickly. And once you hit it, you get this huge psychological victory, and you've already built a buffer against 90% of minor household shocks. A burst pipe, a flat tire.
And how do we build it up consistently?
Automate, automate, automate. This is critical.
You have to take the decision out of it.
Set up an automatic transfer from your checking to your savings the day you get paid. You can't spend what you never see. It removes that whole emotional debate of, can I afford to save this month?
Okay, so where does this money live? This brings us to the high-yield savings account, the ISA.
Right. And it's important where you keep it. It needs to be easily accessible, but not too accessible.
Explain that distinction. Why not just keep it in my regular checking account?
Two big reasons. First, a HISA is a separate, dedicated account. That little bit of friction, the extra step it takes to move money back, it's often enough to stop an impulse purchase.
You're not going to transfer $500 just for a new gadget.
Exactly. And second, by definition, a HISA earns a higher interest rate. You're not going to get rich off it, but it helps your money keep its purchasing power against inflation. It signals that this money has a serious job to do.
Perfect. So foundation
Right.
built, we know where our money goes, and we have a safety cushion.
You have breathing room.
Which means now we can transition into Section 2, strategic debt reduction and management.
Because if the emergency fund is a cushion, high interest debt is like a constant grinding weight on your chest.
It's the primary source of stress for so many people. We're talking credit cards, personal loans, those awful payday loans.
Yeah. The moment your interest rate gets up over, say, 15 or 20%, you're in what they call a punitive cycle. Your minimum payment is barely even touching the principal balance,
You're just treading water.
or sinking slowly. So the imperative is clear. You have to develop a plan to tackle those obligations first. You pay the minimum on everything else, but every extra dollar has to be laser focused on that high cost debt.
And when it comes to the repayment strategies, the research presents this really interesting tension.
Yes, it's a battle between the mathematically optimal strategy and the psychologically motivating one.
Let's start with the hard math, the one that saves you the most money, the debt avalanche.
The avalanche method is pure logic. You list all your debts from the highest interest rate down to the lowest. You pay the minimum on everything, but you dedicate every single extra penny you can squeeze out of your budget to that debt with the absolute highest interest rate.
And once that one is gone,
You take that entire payment amount, the minimum plus the extra, and you avalanche it onto the debt with the next highest interest rate, and so on.
and the experts are clear, this is the fiscally optimal way to do it. You pay less in interest, you get out of debt faster.
It's the cheapest way out of debt. But is efficiency the only thing that matters?
And this is where behavioral finance comes in.
Right. For a lot of people who are feeling completely overwhelmed, the avalanche method can be really demoralizing.
Why is that?
Well, if your highest interest debt is also your biggest debt, like a huge credit card balance, it could take you a year, maybe more, just to pay off that one single item.
And you don't feel like you're making any progress.
That lack of a tangible win is a psychological killer. It's where people give up.
Okay, so that brings us to the counterpoint, the debt snowball.
The snowball is a masterstroke of psychological engineering.
And it ignores the interest rates completely.
Completely. It focuses purely on the smallest balances first. You list your debts by size, smallest to largest, pay the minimums on everything, but throw all your extra cash at the very smallest debt.
And once that one's gone,
You get a quick, tangible victory. You've closed an account. Then you take that entire payment amount and add it to the payment for the next smallest debt.
so wait a minute. If the avalanche saves more money, isn't that always the right choice? Are we saying it's okay to be less efficient just because it feels good?
We're saying we have to acknowledge human nature. The research is crystal clear on this. The best debt repayment strategy is the one you actually stick with. For someone paralyzed by the size of their debt, those quick wins from the snowball, that emotional high, that provides the momentum to keep going. If you're a super disciplined person, sure, use the avalanche. But for most people, adherence is more important than marginal interest savings.
That's a critical distinction. And regardless of the method you choose, the key is discipline.
Unwavering discipline. Two components. First, always make more than the minimum payments if you can. Even an extra $20 a month makes a huge difference over time.
And second,
Crucially, you have to stop digging the hole deeper. Avoid new debt. Cut up the credit cards. Remove the saved card numbers from your Amazon account. You have to close the valve.
okay, but what if someone's debt load it's too complex? They feel too overwhelmed to even start with an avalanche or a snowball.
That's when we move into the advanced solutions.
And the first step is surprisingly simple, but people don't think to do it.
Just call your creditors. You
Yeah.
can and should try to negotiate a lower interest rate. They would much rather get guaranteed, even if reduced, payments from you than have you default completely.
It never hurts to ask.
Never. Just call and say, what can you do for me?
Now, for someone with a bunch of different high-interest debts, the idea of debt consolidation comes up a lot.
Yes. This is where you take out a new, lower interest loan or use a balance transfer card to pay off all those other higher rate debts.
And the benefit is you have one single, simpler payment, and you're saving a ton on interest.
In theory. But And this is a huge flashing red light caveat from all our sources. You have to be incredibly careful.
What are the traps?
The first is transfer fees, which can eat up your savings. The second, more dangerous one, is if you extend the payment period for so long that you actually pay more in interest over time, even with a lower rate.
But what's the biggest risk?
The biggest risk is psychological. You've paid off your old credit cards and suddenly you have all this available credit again. If you consolidate and then immediately start spending on those cards again,
You just doubled your problem.
you're in a much, much worse position. Consolidation requires an absolute commitment to stop spending.
And if it's just too much, if someone feels totally stuck, paralyzed by the anxiety.
Then it is time to seek outside professional help.
From who?
Nonprofit resources, organizations like Citizens Advice or the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, the NFCC. A credit counselor can help you build a real budget, they can negotiate with creditors for you, and give you a clear path forward.
And it's important to say that's a sign of strength, not failure.
Absolutely, it's a sign of responsibility.
That's a perfect transition into Section 3. We've stopped the bleeding, we have a budget, we're tackling the debt. Now, how do we grow and protect that new financial position?
Right, this part is all about building future resilience, and it starts with increasing your income and earning potential.
Because relying on a single paycheck is inherently risky.
It's a huge point of stress. So
Yeah.
diversifying your income streams builds in that resilience.
So how do we actually do that? But the sources laid out a few clear tactics. The first one is upskilling.
Investing in yourself is always the highest return investment you can make. Get certifications, take courses in high-demand fields, data analysis, coding, whatever. It makes you more valuable and less replaceable.
The second tactic is negotiation, not just waiting for a raise.
No, you have to be proactive. Research the market rates using sites like Glassdoor or PayScale so you know what you're worth, and then you negotiate confidently.
But you have to be prepared.
Oh, absolutely. It's not about making demands. It's about articulating your value. Document your wins. Show your research. Preparation is everything.
And for those who have maybe hit a ceiling at their main job, the third tactic is the side hustle.
The gig economy, whether it's driving for Uber, freelance work on Fiverr, or turning a hobby into a business on Etsy, that extra income stream can be the accelerator that just demolishes your debt or turbocharges your savings.
But as that income starts to go up, we hit this huge trap that sabotages so many people.
Lifestyle inflation.
Explain that.
It's the financial quicksand that keeps people stressed even when they're making good money. It's the tendency to increase your spending the second your income rises.
You get a $10,000 raise, so you immediately get a more expensive apartment and a fancier car.
And you're still living paycheck to paycheck, just at a higher level. Your stress level hasn't changed at all.
It's so frustrating. What triggers it?
The two biggest triggers are the I deserve it mentality and, of course, social comparison. You see your friends upgrading their lives and you feel pressure to keep up.
So what's the antidote?
It requires willpower, but it's simple. You have to allocate that extra money, your raise, your bonus, straight to savings or debt before it even hits your main checking account.
So you can make a rule, like 75% of any raise goes directly to investment.
Exactly. You get a small lifestyle upgrade, but you capture most of the benefit for your future self. You have to live below your means, even when your means increase.
Okay, so that moves us from growing income to long-term security. Section 3.2, investing and planning for the long term.
This is where we use the magic of compounding interest to basically eliminate future financial worry.
And the single most important piece of advice here is just to start.
Start early, even with tiny amounts. The time is more important than the amount. And contribute regularly to those tax-advantaged retirement accounts, like a 401k, especially if there's an employer match.
Let's just pause on that. The employer match.
It's free money.
It's literally a 100% return on your investment, instantly.
You should never, ever leave that on the table. It's part of your compensation package.
So for the average person who doesn't want the stress of trying to be a day trader, what's the investment strategy?
Simplicity, low cost, and diversification. The sources all point towards low-cost, diversified index funds, or ETFs.
We hear that word diversification all the time.
Mhm.
Why is that the key to managing anxiety here?
Think of it this way. Diversification means you're not betting on one single company to succeed. You're buying a tiny slice of the entire market, hundreds or thousands of companies.
So if one company fails,
The impact on your portfolio is minimal because others are succeeding. It removes the stress of trying to pick winners and instead lets you bet on the long-term growth of the whole economy.
it shifts the goal from get rich quick to get rich slowly and securely.
Exactly. And to make this even less stressful, you need clear goals. The sources all emphasized using the SMART criteria.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Right. It turns a vague dream into a concrete plan.
Give us an example.
A vague goal is, I want to buy a house someday.
A SMART goal.
Is, I will save $40,000 for a down payment by October 2028 by automatically transferring $800 a month into my high-yield savings account. See the difference?
It's an executable plan. It's real.
It minimizes uncertainty, which is what causes the worry.
Okay, one last great tactical tool in this section was the concept of sinking funds.
Oh, this is such a great anxiety reducer. Sinking funds are just separate savings accounts for large future expenses that you know are coming.
Like what?
Car replacement, your annual insurance premiums, holiday gifts, property taxes, things that feel like an emergency but are actually predictable.
So you just save a little bit every month towards them.
Yes, you turn a future surprise expense into a planned, painless monthly deposit. So when that $1,200 car insurance bill arrives,
Instead of panic, you just transfer the money from the car insurance sinking fund, and you feel completely in control.
you've shifted the stress from the moment of panic to the moment of planning.
Okay. We built the foundation. We're growing. Now we have to protect it all. Section 3.3, protecting against catastrophic loss.
This is the ultimate defensive move against financial ruin. It starts with reviewing your essential coverage, health, auto, home, or renter's insurance.
You have to make sure you're adequately covered,
Hmm.
that your deductible isn't so high that you couldn't pay it from your emergency fund.
And beyond protecting your stuff, you have to protect your income stream. This is arguably even more vital.
Which brings up disability insurance. What happens if you get sick or injured and you can't work?
Most people just rely on whatever their employer provides, but it's often not enough. Your ability to earn an income is your single biggest financial asset. You have to protect it.
And if you have dependents, kids, a spouse.
Then, life insurance is absolutely critical. It ensures that if the unthinkable happens, you don't compound a personal tragedy with a long-term economic disaster for your family.
And then there's the legal side of things, which no one likes to think about.
Estate planning. You have to create or update your will. This isn't just for rich people. If you have kids, a will is how you name their legal guardians.
It prevents chaos.
It's a massive burden lifted off your loved ones during an already impossible time.
And the final piece of advice on protection was a great practical tip, the annual review.
You have to review all your insurance policies every year.
Why?
2 reasons. First, to make sure your coverage is still adequate as your life changes. Second, to prevent overpaying. Shopping around for car or home insurance once a year can save you hundreds of dollars.
Money that can go straight towards your goals.
Exactly.
Okay, we have covered the structures, the strategies, the hard numbers, but none of it matters without this final and maybe most complex pillar.
Cultivating a healthy financial mindset. The internal game.
This is the hardest part.
It often is, because our financial stress is so tangled up with these deep-seated, emotional, and frankly, irrational behaviors.
So it starts with self-reflection.
You have to reflect on your habits, and more importantly, the emotions that trigger them. You have to identify and challenge those negative money beliefs you might have learned as a kid.
The research on cognitive biases is so relevant here.
It is. We bring all these irrational shortcuts to our money decisions, like anchoring, for example.
Where you fixate on the first price you see.
Right. A shirt is on sale for $100, down from $200, so you think it's a great deal. But maybe it was only ever worth $50. The first number you saw anchored your perception of its value.
That's a powerful one. Another one that fuels chaos is mental accounting.
Oh, this one is huge. It's where you treat money differently based on where it came from.
So a tax refund or a bonus feels like found money.
And people spend it frivolously.
Yeah.
But money from their regular paycheck, they'll save carefully. But a dollar is a dollar. You have to treat all money with the same respect and allocate it according to your plan.
And then there's maybe the most destructive modern habit of all, comparison, especially with social media.
Comparison is a guaranteed path to misery and stress. You're comparing your real, messy, behind-the-scenes financial journey to someone else's curated highlight reel.
And it just makes you want to spend more to keep up.
It leads directly back to lifestyle inflation and more debt.
So what's the alternative?
You have to focus only on your own personal progress. Compare yourself to your past self. Did you save more this month than last month? Did you pay off a debt? Celebrate those personal wins.
Okay, so what about in-the-moment discipline? Curbing those impulses that wreck the budget.
That's where you practice delayed gratification. A great practical strategy from the sources is the 24 to 48-hour rule.
Just wait a day or two before any big, non-essential purchase.
Let the emotional impulse fade. Let your rational brain take over.
And you can also set up barriers.
Yes, remove the friction from saving and add friction to spending. Delete the shopping apps from your phone. Unsubscribe from retail emails. Make it harder to spend money on impulse.
And finally, under mindset, the simple practice of gratitude.
Gratitude is a fundamental tool for breaking the worry cycle. Worry comes from a feeling of lack, a fear of not having enough.
But by actively being grateful for what you do have.
Your job, your health, the budget you just created, you shift your brain's focus from fear to sufficiency. It fosters a more positive outlook, which is essential for making good, rational decisions.
Okay, acknowledging this whole process is stressful leads us into managing that stress. Not just the finances, but the feelings.
Yes, financial stress takes a massive emotional toll. We need specific techniques to manage it.
Things like mindfulness and relaxation.
Simple, deep breathing, meditation, yoga, these things literally calm your nervous system and make it easier to have these tough money conversations without panicking.
And you can't overlook basic physical health.
No. Regular exercise, getting enough sleep, eating well. When you're sleep deprived and running on junk food, your capacity for rational thought and discipline just plummets.
You're way more likely to make an impulse purchase.
Far more likely.
And finally, connection. Not trying to do this all alone in the dark.
Right. Talking about money with a partner or a trusted friend brings it out into the light. It reduces the psychological burden of secrecy and shame.
Scheduling a regular, non-judgmental money meeting can be a game changer for couples.
It builds confidence and teamwork.
Okay, that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, getting help. Professional and community support.
Knowing when to call in the experts
What is that?
for complex issues. Tax planning, advanced investing, or if you're just feeling completely overwhelmed by debt and need to explore your options.
And the sources advise looking for a fee-only financial planner.
Yes, and make sure they have a fiduciary standard.
What does that mean, practically?
It means they are legally obligated to act in your best interest, not their own. They're not getting commissions to sell you expensive products you don't need. Their advice is focused purely on you.
And beyond the paid pros, there's so many community resources now.
Absolutely. Talk to trusted friends, but also leverage online communities like the My Real Personal Finance subreddit. It can be a great source of anonymous, shared wisdom.
And for those who are really struggling with the mental health side of this.
Yes. For debt, nonprofits like the NFCC are a great start. If the anxiety is causing severe depression or panic attacks, you have to use mental health resources like the NHS talking therapies or support lines like the Samaritans. You have to secure your emotional foundation first.
So let's bring this all together. We have covered a huge amount of ground today.
We have. From the tiny detail of a $5 coffee to the massive strategy of protecting your entire future.
We've laid out a complete 4-pillar strategy.
The foundation to get control. The debt plan to clear the biggest obstacle. The growth and protection plan for the future. And most importantly, the mindset game.
And the key really is consistency, not perfection.
Exactly. Small, consistent, actionable steps. That's what leads to big long-term improvements in your net worth and, more importantly, your mental well-being.
It's about building habits that stick.
The financial plan is the map, but the mindset is the engine. You need both to get where you're going.
That's a great way to put it. Because the goal here isn't just about piling up money.
No.
The ultimate goal is to replace that constant, draining fear of financial uncertainty with the calm, steady power of financial control.
Take that control back, starting today.
So here's our final provocative thought for you to chew on this week, listener. What is one single, small, automated step you can take today?
It could be anything.
Maybe setting up one extra bill payment. Maybe automating a $25 transfer to that new savings account. Or maybe it's just deleting one shopping app from your phone.
Just one thing.
What's the one thing you can implement right now to immediately shift your relationship with money from one of worry to one of empowerment?
Start small, but start now. We hope this deep dive helps you sleep a little better tonight. Until next time.